Shalom Aleichem and welcome to Machin Le'Ra online smicha. Continuing our teachings on the Kalim of the Beis HaMikdash and stressing the great miracles that took place in most of the Kalim. So today we'll discuss the Menorah. There are interesting shilas connected to the Menorah, and that is that we know that the Torah tells us B'haloischa es haNeiros, when you bring up the candles, and one of the Pirushim Rashi gives is that there was a step, a platform that had 3 steps, so that Aaron should be able to climb up the 3 steps and be able to do the avodah of hatavas haNeiros, cleaning the neiros, and also lighting the candle. And there are many questions on this steps that were there. First of all, there is no mention anywhere in the Chumash or in the Halacha that you were instructed to make steps. And if so, the question is, there is a clear isser that when the Torah says this is how the Beis HaMikdash should be built, and he gives you instructions, there's a isser to be meisif al habinyan. You're not allowed to add more designs or anything that you want. For what reason did they do this, and what rights do they have? So in Likutei Yehuda, from one of the Gerer Rebbes, he answers that because these steps, this small platform, was not permanent, it was movable, so it's not considered being an extra part of the structure of the Beis HaMikdash, and it was allowed to be done. Now, it's interesting to note that the fact that Rashi says in the Chumash that there were steps in front of the Menorah, he only says that in Parshas B'haloischa. Earlier in Parshas Tetzaveh, there too the Torah discusses the mitzvah of making the Menorah. Over there, Rashi doesn't make any note about the fact that there were steps before the Menorah. And the question is why? And one of the most fascinating answers is, in Parshas Tetzaveh, the Eibush is talking to Moshe Rabbeinu. In Parshas B'haloischa is how Aaron actually performed the mitzvah of lighting the candles. What's the difference? The Menorah, according to some answers, this is a beautiful answer. The Menorah was 18 tefachim high. That's approximately the standard average of a height of a person. So, for Aaron, really, it didn't need. It didn't. Aaron, because he was an average height, Aaron couldn't really lift his hands over his head to do the work. Why not? Because Aaron was wearing a tzitz, so he has to stand on a platform to go over a little higher than the Menorah to be able to do whatever he has to do. So that's why for Aaron, you needed a platform. In Parashas Tetzaveh, when it's talking to Moshe we know was a giant. According to the Mefarshim, Moshe Rabbeinu was 10 amas tall. 10 amas tall, he's hovering way over the Menorah. So he doesn't have to be on a platform. So those are some of the issues about the steps. That there were steps and what was the purpose for the steps. 2 interesting miracles that are mentioned about the Menorah. Miracle number 1 is the Medrash Tanchuma says that you lit the Menorah on Rosh Hashanah and it stayed lit the whole year until next year. Until next Rosh Hashanah. Which all the Mefarshim grapple with this, and the Mefarshim have a problem. There's the mitzvah of hadlaka every single day. So what does it mean it stayed lit? And it's not only a mitzvah of hadlaka, there's also a mitzvah of hatavas haNeiros, cleaning. So there are many answers given to this. I'll just choose 2. One answer is that even though it stayed lit, but the oil became less and less a bit every day. So every day adding oil is equivalent to lighting the Menorah for the day. Another answer is given that this miracle that the Menorah stayed lit for so long was only in the main Menorah. But the Rambam says that in the time of Shlomo HaMelech there were 10 Menorahs. So the other Menorahs this miracle didn't happen to, and you were able to light the Menorah daily. Another thing is it's brought in Targum Yonason that when the Torah said that the Menorah has to be lit, and you have to have special oil, shemen zayis zoch, for the Menorah. Now, when was this mitzvah said? It was said in the Midbar. Where do you find shemen zayis zoch in the Midbar. So the Targum Yonason says in Chumash Shmois Perik Lamed Hey Pasuk Chav Ches that actually the Ananei Shemayim went into Gan Eden to get oil to be able to perform that mitzvah. And of course, this is for discussion. How could you perform the mitzvah of Hadlakas in there through a nes?